Hello and welcome to the first in a series of video podcasts designed to introduce you to Burnley's road to the Year of Culture 2027 and what that means. We're delighted to be joined in the studio by a very appropriate guest to kick everything off. I'll let her introduce herself to you. Tell everyone who you are.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Steels. I'm the Cultural Manager for Burnley and I work for Burnley Leisure and Culture.
And what does that actually mean being Burnley's Cultural Manager, Charlotte?
It's quite a wide-ranging role. So far I've been in the post just over a year, and what I've been working on so far has been developing Burnley's new cultural framework, which is how we've developed this plan to go towards 2027. And I've also been getting out and about trying to talk to as many people as I can to inform that and to develop what we need to do as a town and a wider borough to really look at how we develop our cultural offer and engage more people in that.
And of course, one of the things you've been involved in doing straight away is commissioning this series of podcasts here at Burnley Film Studio. Why was it important for you to get the message out there through the medium of video?
I think video is such a great tool in terms of enabling the message to really get out, particularly through social media, which is how a lot of people are engaging with information these days. And you can say so much more in a video than you can in a document, which can sometimes be a little bit dry. So we have got a document and we have tried to make it fun, but actually it's those actual voices of the people involved coming through that we really wanted to showcase and really get some energy and some passion behind what we were doing, because this is such an important thing for Burnley.
And of course, film is part of the cultural sector itself, so hopefully some young video and filmmakers out there might even be inspired by wanting to get involved in making their own series of cultural podcasts potentially.
Exactly, and having yourselves in Burnley is such a fantastic cultural asset for us as well. You know, there is that sense that culture's just for the well-to-do, and it's this high idea of high art and high culture, but actually culture means so many different things to so many different people, and it's that authenticity in Burnley that I think is really important to us being able to define what culture means to us as a borough.
And tell me a bit about how you've been sort of trying to get people involved in the programme of events that you're hoping to bring for the Year of Culture 2027. What is it that you're sort of hoping people will do to send the message out there about that we need to get involved?
I think the more I've spoken to people across different sectors as well as the cultural sector, there's a real sense of wanting something to happen, a real feeling of momentum. And you know, we have a great platform for businesses with bondholders, we have great educators in the borough, and I think culture is sort of the missing link at the moment, and actually how do we as Burnley really promote ourselves to the world, and there seems to be some real momentum growing from that, and there's a lot of people who have already said that they're really keen to be involved in helping shape what happens in 2027 and getting involved, which is fantastic. It couldn't be better for me.
Great. And I think some people might think, well, why do we need a year of culture? Do we not just do these things naturally anyway? But what is it about you're hoping to achieve by having the focal point of a year of culture?
I think we do a lot of great things in Burnley already. The challenge often is that those things are quite disconnected. And I think by having a focus of a year of culture, what we're hoping to achieve is to look at how we take those existing events, maybe make them bigger or raise their profile, and also where are the gaps? We don't do anything like a youth festival. How can we maybe try and introduce new things into the programme that allow more people to get involved? And that's really important because culture's for everybody, it's not just for the few, and everybody has a right to participate in high quality cultural activity, and that's what we want to see happening through this. You know, we want to see us working with international artists as well as helping our own homegrown artists and arts sector to have those experiences and platforms to showcase what they do to the world as well. So it's very much looking at how we kind of reimagine Burnley in the future, what we want to present us to the world and how we want to see things moving forwards.
And talking about young people and getting them involved in culture, is part of that asking them what they want to see and using their words to guide how the Year of Culture will look, as well as getting them involved in the events themselves when they happen?
Very much so, and I think co-curation and involving people from all walks of life, all ages, in shaping what happens in that year is so important, because it's not my year of culture. It's no one individual, no one organisation, it's the borough's year of culture. And that's so important, that the more people that get involved in that, the more ownership people can feel and the more involved they can feel. And what we want is things aren't going to stop in 2027. That's essentially a jumping off point then for what comes next. So by creating those relationships, by involving lots of different people in that process, that then launches us into what happens next beyond 2027, and that's so important.
Burnley is a multicultural town, and it's becoming even more multicultural as we're welcoming in international students from the universities that are based here now. We've also got people who are coming to work in the town because it offers so much. So how can we involve everyone in the culture and how it's shaped?
We know that there are lots of people in different communities in Burnley doing some fantastic things, and what we want to do really is give a wider platform for those things to happen and to be recognised locally. There's a real sense that some communities in Burnley are quite hidden. You know, a lot of people don't necessarily take part in what we would say is mainstream culture in terms of visiting museums and art galleries and festivals. But that's not to say that there isn't culture in those communities, and we want to celebrate that as well and really showcase the breadth and the diversity that Burnley has to offer.
We have got a real international feel, haven't we? As well as being proud of our very local traditions, we're also embracing what others are bringing into the town and influencing us.
That's it. I mean, for many years, Burnley has opened its doors to people from different world cultures. And we really want to make sure that that's reflected in the 2027 year of culture. There's a real risk that there's a sense of things not being representative and people not feeling like something's for them, and we absolutely want to break down that barrier and say, please get involved. We want as many different types of events and activities as we can possibly get that are fully representative of the different demographics across Burnley.
And how are you hoping to achieve those things of getting more people involved, Charlotte?
It is through different partnerships and getting out there and finding out who's out there in the community and how different people can get involved. So, you know, we can't do this on our own. It's an inclusive process, and we want to involve as many different people, as I said, in shaping where we take things.
And can you tell me about some of the partners who have already signed up to the pledge for making Year of Culture 2027 a great success?
Obviously, we've got our cultural partners that are involved. So we've got our representatives. We've got a Culture Burnley steering group who've been helping us to shape the framework and the initial journey that we've set off on. So that includes people like Burnley Council with Townley Hall, the County Council, who obviously run venues like Gawthorpe Hall and Queen Street Textile Museum, as well as all the libraries in the borough. And then we've got independent artists and arts organisations. So we've got a real cross-section of the cultural community that's been involved so far. The next steps really is to look at how we engage more broadly. We want to invite more people from different sectors as well. So we've already spoken to the Business Improvement District and educators, and we really want to make sure that what we do is cutting across different sectors, because again, there's so much overlap between things like health, education, business and culture. Nothing stands on its own. It all creates this ecosystem where we all come together to celebrate what's great about Burnley and to improve the lives of local residents. So again, the more everybody gets involved, the better and more successful it's going to be.
I know you're really keen as well to emphasise that this is a borough-wide programme, isn't it? And many people probably think, when they think of culture initially, they might think, oh, you mean something happening in a museum or in a theatre, but we're talking about our green spaces, aren't we, and our town centres. Everything that you can think of within the borough, it is a potential for a cultural space.
Exactly. I mean, even in individual homes, you know, there's that sense of things happening in that really micro area, you know, people's homes, people's streets, and that sense of whatever people feel is community or culture to them, that's how we'd like them to express themselves. It doesn't always have to be a big platform that people are getting involved in, but actually how can we encourage more cultural activity on that small scale as well, where people are comfortable. And I think that's one of the key things really, that we need to find different access points for people for culture, because there is that sense of the unknown sometimes in terms of what we mean by culture, what its true definition is. And I think the answer that we found is there is no one single definition of culture. It's whatever resonates with each individual person.
One of the things we are going to be asking everyone who's a guest on this podcast is what culture means to them. So let's start with you, Charlotte. What does culture mean to you personally?
Culture means people. I mean, personally, on a personal basis, growing up, culture to me meant visiting historic houses and drawing, painting, all those craft type activities. And that was, my mum was my role model growing up in terms of my cultural influence. She'd been to art college, and you know, she brought those skills into our home, and she was always doing something crafty. So that really inspired me to get more creative and do very much arts-based activities. As I say, we used to go out and visit a lot of historic houses on weekends, as well as getting out into the North Yorkshire moors and places like Skipton, and all these places that you really feel the history and the heritage when you go there. And I think that's what I really love.
And as well as being an official partner, are there many ways where other businesses can get involved, no matter what sector they work in?
Definitely, and I think culture has many different levels, and workplace culture is obviously quite an important thing, and that sense of businesses and employers needing to make sure that they're attracting people into roles, and obviously having a vibrant cultural landscape helps to do that. If there's lots of things for you to do when you get to Burnley, you might decide to come to Burnley rather than somewhere else. It's not just your Manchesters and your Liverpools. Actually, Burnley's got a great cultural offer as well.
And there are so many outstanding businesses that have a long history in the town as well, which is reflected in their culture. And in turn, it's reflected back on the town as well, isn't it? That we feel proud to have those businesses here.
Yes, definitely. And as you say, there's a long history of that, from the textile mills right through to today, and new businesses that are coming in now. You will see those as being the future culture of Burnley, and that's really what we want to uncover as well. What does the future hold, and where's that going to take us?
When we are out filming corporate videos, businesses are telling us that actually they get many customers coming back to them because their staff are so friendly, they've been friendly and welcoming to them, and they're sort of reflecting their own culture outward to their customers.
Yeah, absolutely, and the friendliness of the people of Burnley is our culture.
You've obviously got a lot of personal passion, Charlotte, for culture. Can you tell us a bit about some of your roles that you've had previously before you've taken on this role of cultural manager for Burnley?
Yeah, I mean, specifically in terms of Burnley, I started off as a volunteer working part of the time at Queen Street Mill Textile Museum, and then I was lucky enough to be appointed as the assistant keeper there back in 2005, which was a fantastic opportunity. And then after that, again, still working for the County Council's museum service, I was senior museum manager for East Lancashire, which again was fantastic, working with Gawthorpe and with Queen Street. And again, I was then lucky to become the director of Gawthorpe Textile Collection for 6 years, based with a fantastic and unique collection for this area.
And having achieved all those great things locally, what is your personal vision for the Year of Culture?
So my vision for 2027 is very much having the different cultural venues and organisations really showcasing what they have to offer for the borough. Whether it's the youth theatre, whether it's Townley Hall, and really shouting about all the great things that they do. I think we're really unique in this area in terms of the quality and the number of cultural venues and organisations that we have. I would really like to see us doing more artistic commissions, whether that's permanent or pop-up things that really help the local people and visitors to Burnley see the borough in a completely different way. So whether that's a stairway to nowhere that gives you a different view of the town, or whether it's something that's along the canal, all these different places using using derelict buildings in different ways and looking at how we can creatively transform spaces and really get people excited about Burnley and what it has to offer. We'd also really like to use it as a way to uncover new stories. We know there's going to be a lot of hidden histories out there, whether it's communities, individuals, or whether it's businesses, and those long histories that we talked about before. We really want to get to understand what makes Burnley tick, who's here and what we have to celebrate.
And just touching on what you said about stories, I think stories are so key to sharing culture, aren't they, as well? So we need to hear people's stories, encourage them to tell us, and I think it's absolutely fantastic that we've got this programme to look forward to in the Year of Culture in 2027. Thank you for coming in and talking to us, Charlotte, telling us what we can expect with the Year of Culture 2027 and crucially how people can get involved. We've got a series of podcasts with business leaders, people in the sectors who will be involved in the Year of Culture 2027, so make sure you check out those podcasts.
Our people, our culture, because Burnley's cultural story is how we shape our future. Thank you for watching this video and look out for exciting updates on the Year of Culture 2027.